Hi guys, I'm Anita and I'm back with another video. Today I wanted to share with you an interesting video idea that I've been thinking about for a while, that is reading books that was published the year I was born, so in 1986. Then you can count along and see try and guess how old I am. And I thought back then, I was like, yeah, but I'm gonna do this in my birthday month, which is September. So I'm hoping, if everything goes well, that I would even upload it on my birthday on the 19th of September, because then everything would be like it should be. And but I am filming this clip a little bit in advance, because I don't know if I have to get a hand of some books. I want to read books that were published this year, but I don't want to read books that I'm not interested in anyway. Hopefully some of them I already own and have here, but the thing is I have a lot of books that are wrapped, so I don't know if I can read those. So we'll see. But this video was inspired by when I participated in the Classic SFF readathon, which was a readathon where we were focusing on reading Classic SFF by women. And without even thinking about it, I picked 3 books that I think that was published in 1986. So I thought that was really interesting. I don't know if I can figure out how to record my screen. What I do is that I will find a list on Goodreads that with books, top 100 books I think that was published in 1986. I think that's the list. Oh. Bye. Let's try it again. Books published. Okay, for some reason I've apparently searched for it before. Weird. Oh no. Okay. I've already been. Oh, it's a great thing about. Okay, so the first book on this list is It, and obviously that's a book I haven't read, but it is one I had on my need to read over this year kind of thing. I think this is that one. My cover, I've been told, is extremely freaky and no one's ever seen anything like it, but this is my copy of It. It is the Danish edition. I have it on my books to read this year, but I have postponed it and postponed it and postponed it. It is a book that I am close to have to read anyway for my Stephen King project. I think I have one more book to read before that, so I can read this and then get to Skeleton Crew afterwards. That's not a big deal. I think Skeleton Crew is a short story collection, and it was not really easy to get a hand of. That's why I haven't been picking it up yet, but I might be buying it. So I definitely don't have to buy this one, but I definitely have to set off a lot of time to read it. I will be listening to a Danish audio of this, try and see if that will work for me, at least get me into it, so I don't have to read like 1100 pages. So some of the other books that is on this this list is Hatchet by Gary Paulsen. I know that I've heard of Hatchet before, and I definitely could be interested in reading that one for sure. I don't even know what it's about really, but I think I remember someone on BookTube reading it recently and really enjoying it. So I'll see if I can get a hand of that, a copy of that. House Moving Castle, I've already read it and I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. So Orson Scott Card, not interested. I mean, I could read Moss. I think they have it at the library. I think they have it at the library, so I could do that. Life Fantastic by Terry Pratchett is a great book, but I already read it. Woman Who Writes Like a Man, I already read it. Forrest Gump, why didn't I know that that was a book, first and foremost? Some of the foundation books. Shards of Honor was one of the books that I also read in that classic SFF thing. You Get So Alone, that just makes sense. An Artist of the Floating World by Kazuo Ishiguro. I didn't know that he already wrote books back then. The Hitchhiker's a trilogy in 4 parts. What? So that's not the actual book. Daggerspell by Catherine Kerr is definitely one I've been wanting to read as well, so I think I might put that on my list to read. I can listen to that from Storytel, I know that, so it'll be audio. So that's 3 books to read. I think I'm going to try and see if I can find 4 or 5 there's a lot of books I've never heard of, so, or that I'm just not interested in, which is probably not super surprising. And I'm not gonna start out with books that's like far into a series. I mean, I could continue with For Cozy Against Saga books because there are a couple of books that were published this year, but Blood of Amber. What book am I about to start? Blood of Amber? Just one moment. Yes, that's the next book in my Amber Chronicles of Amber. Okay, so that is the 4th book for sure. So and that's not really long, so that's fine. And I have been putting off continuing with this one all year. So maybe this is a good way of getting back into that series. The Cat Who Saw Red, that's the 4th in the series though, because I have been interested in reading the Cat Who books. Okay, so that was all of the books. So I have It, Hatchet, that I'm interested in reading. Love You Forever by Robert Munsch. I think, is that like a kid's book? Yeah, I think that is. So if I read It by Stephen King, Hatchet, and then see if I can get Mass of by Art Spiegelman from the library, I have Blood of Amber and Daggerspell by Catherine Kerr, and that will be 5 books to read in September. We'll see if it's a good year for reading. Anyway, this was a long so the only book I need to buy is Hatchet. I'll see if I maybe am able to buy a used copy from awesomebooks.com. just because they are relatively quicker than Book Depository or Amazon these days. So I'm going to see if that is possible. Considering it's such an old book, there might be a chance that it's available used. So I'm going to try that. But I am excited, kind of excited to read this. This is the book that I've had on my TBR the longest, just of books that I've owned the longest. I think I bought this book back in I would say 2007 or 6. I hadn't started reading yet for real. So I'm unsure if I bought this before I moved out from my parents or just after, but I know I hadn't even read any of the Harry Potter books yet, so it's really old and I've been postponing it for so long. But I'm happy to be there now, and I think I might actually really enjoy it. I watched the movie, the first movie, the original movie, quite a few times, and they always made me uncomfortable because I have a thing with clowns that I have a little bit of, I find it difficult with clowns, and I've always found that a little difficult. So yeah, but this was my first update. See ya. Hello. It's the beginning of a new vlog, but my battery is flashing at me, so I just wanted to make a quick update, and I'll check in with you later when I have a reading update of what I've been reading today. I might just check in with updates a few times with each book, because it can easily become drawn out considering it's going to be a two-week one, so I might only check in when I feel like I really have something to say about what I'm reading. So yeah, but this is my update. See you later. Bye. Hello friends, it is now Saturday, so almost 6 days later. I wanted to check in now with an update because I finished my first book, as well as I've made quite a lot of progress on it. The first book I finished was Hatchet by Gary Paulsen. I ended up taking much longer to read this than I initially thought, but the problem was it didn't really make me want to pick it up, because I don't think I particularly enjoyed this book as a whole. I think the concept of him having to survive in the wilderness was very interesting, and it was very realistic in the things that were happening. But what I didn't like was that the fact that he was on his own for the whole thing, and there was no dialogue, there was no anything happening except that he was trying to survive, which some people absolutely love that, and I get that, but for me I was a little bit bored. So I ended up giving this book a 3 stars because there were things that I really enjoyed about it, and there was things that made me not so eager to pick it up. So an overall 3 stars, and I'm not continuing with the next one. I don't think I'm ever gonna read that. Now to the bigger read is It by Stephen King, and as you can tell, I've made quite a decent amount of progress. I'm on page 376, actually a little further on. Yeah, I'm super enjoying it. I think it's really creepy. There's just a thing about, yes, it talks unnecessarily a lot about sex and stuff, and there's a lot of things like slurs and stuff and swearing and stuff, but that's like, if you read a lot of Stephen King, you've sort of gotten used to the hard language. But what I think he does so well is like describing fear. The way that he describes fear from these kids is just so realistic, and so something that just really gets under your skin in a way. And the way that he yeah, the fact that it's kids that's experiencing this just make it a little bit more scary. And I also remember when I did watch the movie, that the first part of the movie, the first bit, was the one I liked the most. I found that first part of the movie pretty scary, and then the second part I found really lame, because I think when they were adults, like, the clown didn't really act super scary. He was acting a little bit more foolish, whereas when they were kids, he was really scary. So that is what I've figured, and that is definitely also the case with this one. I hope that I'll still be scared when they're adults in this one, because that will make it a lot more fun. So I am enjoying it, and I'm taking a lot of my time listening to this, because I have actually not listened to hardly anything else this week, except I finished something on Monday, and then I listened to something of Daggerspell, but then I decided I need to be ahead of schedule, and I'm really happy I did that, because I've honestly been listening so much, I feel like, but I'm 7.5 hours into it, and yeah, I'm not even halfway. So I have to listen so much these next 2 days to try and be on schedule to finish it, and being able to upload it next Saturday. So this is taking so much of my time, but I hope I can get through 150 pages today of it, and 150 pages of it tomorrow. So yeah, but yeah, now I'm gonna get moving and get started on some things so I can listen to it while I do that, and yeah, see ya. Hello friends, it is now Sunday evening. I thought I wanted to check in with you, not really with a reading update, because yes, I've been reading, but that's not exactly why I'm here now. I thought it could be fun to mix up this reading experience about looking back at things that happened in this time, like in 1986, what happened in the world, what music was on, what movies came out, what music was hot, cool, hip, and what movies came out that year that were really the big blockbusters. So I thought that could be fun. Let's start out with the news part. I'm gonna check the Danish stories, because that's what I would most likely relate to, but there's obviously going to, if it's the biggest stories, the biggest events that happened over the year, it will also include the international ones, and the international ones will definitely be like big events, but I don't know what happened in 1986. Like, yeah, there's the World Cup in football. I know that because I've been told about that multiple times, about how we did in Mexico. Okay, it's not starting out well. On January 29th, the spaceship Challenger explodes 1 minute after ascending. That was not a good thing. Oh no, that was this year too. It's really not a good year so far. On February 28th, Olof Palme, who was the Swedish Prime Minister, was shot and murdered in the middle of the street on his way home from, I think, was it a movie or something? So it's not looking good. But I do know that most news that you get, that you remember, are the tragic ones. So that was also the year with the Chernobyl's explosion. Like, it's not getting any better. Okay. Yeah. Crown Prince Frederik turns 18. At least that was something positive happening this year. Like, our favorite Crown Prince, obviously, like, we only have one Crown Prince, but our favorite royal member. Definitely a very beloved Crown Prince. Who's now 52. Yeah, the World Cup was in June, and Denmark went to, I believe this was the first time we ever managed to qualify for the World Cup. So it's a really, really big event in Denmark, and then we made it to, I think, the quarterfinal or this something like that. So I don't know what happened in this one, but I do know that they came really far and they were really popular after that, and it sort of put the Danish national team on the map in Denmark. So yeah. And they've not looked back since. Not that they've always been great, but people have always been hyping everything up, so. Okay, so like, in terms of news that are things that happened this year, it was definitely eventful in the wrong way. So yeah, not a good year for like, but it doesn't beat 2020. So 2020 is worse. I think we also had an explosion. Yeah, I don't think anything beats 2020, honestly. Anyway, next time it's going to be more positive things, because we're gonna look into music. And yeah, see ya. Hello friends, it is Thursday the 17th, and I finished another book, and I wanted to just do a reading update in general. The book that I just finished was Daggerspell by Catherine Kerr. This is a high fantasy novel. It was written obviously in '86. It follows this. It's by a female author, so I had great hopes that it would be this slightly different feel to classic fantasy than what like other fantasies were like, and it had like sort of potential, but I just never felt like it really shined. It follows this girl who is called Jill, who is able to do this very rare thing. She's part of, I think you could say that this book sort of explores the topic of reincarnation. So like, if you had a destiny that you didn't get to fulfill in a previous life, you could get to do it in another life or something like that kind of thing. And then Jill is this bastard, obviously, so she's part of this clan known as the Silver Sword, and has some magical powers through that and stuff. Honestly, I just never really fully got invested in this. There's romance going on. I didn't really care about it. I didn't really care about the characters, I guess that's what I want to say. I felt very detached from everything, and I don't know what I expected, because I had no idea what this was about at all. But I'm not going to be continuing with it. But I don't know what my exact rating is, but I'm feeling like it's a 2.5 to 3 stars, because I found it to be quite long, considering how little I enjoyed it. And yeah, I didn't think it was worth all of that time. An update on Stephen King's It. I have made quite a bit progress, and I'm on page 772, so I have about 300 pages to go, and I am going to be listening to some audio in about when I'm done here. So I will definitely finish that during tomorrow, I'm sure that. And then I have Blood of Amber, which I started, and I've read, I don't know, close to half of it. I'm about to start chapter 6, and I'm definitely not enjoying the Merlin books as much as I enjoy the Corwin books, but there are elements to it that I enjoy, and I will try and see how far I can get into it today. So I think those are all of the updates in terms of my reading and how much I've been reading. So that's fine. Yeah. So this was my reading update for now. I'll check back in later with another update and let you know how I'm doing. And hello friends. It is Friday. I wanted to check in with a quick update, just not a reading update because I haven't finished anything since I spoke to you last, but because I want to share with you music from 1986 because I thought that was the next thing. So, okay, year 1986, I found a blog post. Let's see. It was actually difficult finding something with a hit list that wasn't like the Billboard 100, and while I think that is a good enough list, it probably won't depict what was the biggest here in Denmark at the time, because there are obviously music from the US that we don't hear in Denmark, even though there's a lot of music that we do. But there are specific genres that we don't hear as much here as others, so yeah. But the 5 biggest hits on the pop list in 1986 was Falco with Rock Me Amadeus. I don't think I know that one. A Papa Don't Preach by Madonna, which obviously I know. And The Final Countdown by Europe. Take My Breath Away. Is that Take My Breath Away? By Berlin. And West End Girls by Pet Shop Boys. Like, I really like those songs that I know, at least. Oh, this is actually, I think this is a Norwegian post. 1986 was also Bob Dylan's Knocked Out Loaded. I've never really listened to Bob Dylan. I think he's one of those iconic musicians that I've never really gotten into. The Rolling Stones, Dirty Work. The Kings, Think Visual. And Paul McCartney's Press to Play. Lou Reed's Mistral and Neil Young's Landing on Water. There's also Recepten, which is a Danish football song that was made for the World Cup and is still the one we hear the most. It's pretty iconic. It's called it's like when we are at any stadium, at any sports event, we will be singing this because it has like the chorus is like, we're red, we're white, we stand together side by side. Sort of like how we all in this together kind of thing. And yeah, and then the first verse in the singer of the first verse in the song was Frank Arnesen, who is a footballer, so that was kind of fun as well. I think a lot of people like that as well. It was kind of a fun gimmick. Oh, Sledgehammer was also a big hit in 1986. Sledgehammer, that's what friends are for. That's also from like 1986. It was actually the top of the Billboard 100. Kiss by Prince, I love that song. Like, that's one of my favorite Prince songs. So there are a couple of good tracks. It wasn't as exciting as I was hoping. Why wasn't it? I think we're stopping this looking back because it's difficult finding things. Yeah. But this was fun. Anyway, I am going to leave you now because I have a lot of things to do, and we'll talk to you later. Hello friends! Just a final check-in. It is the 19th of September. It's my birthday. And I just came back from having dinner with parents, sisters, brother, nephew, which was great. Yeah. I finished Blood of Amber this morning and I give it 3 stars. It's right in the middle of the road kind of thing. I didn't love it. It was okay, it was fine, but it wasn't great. I think it lacked a little something. It just lacked something compared to the Corwin books. I don't know what it is and I can't put my finger on it, but I do hope that the last remaining 3 books will be better. But it was fine. I gave it 3 stars. It just more or less continues right after the first book. I can't really get it into specifics. So yeah. I also finished It by Stephen King, so I completed all of the books that I wanted to for this video, and I finished it on my birthday. Now it's time to see if I can actually manage to edit all of it and get it up today as well, because that would be what I'm hoping for. I still have like 3.5 hours to edit it, so it should be enough. I hope it doesn't take too long to edit this together, but I'll be starting right away. My final thoughts on it is that I thought the first 60 to 70% of the book was really good and really creepy. It really had me on the edge. Creepy crawlies. I felt like it really got under my skin kind of thing with what he was explaining and how he had described everything. The ending was not good. I mean, at least parts of it. There were other things that was fine. I think the revelation about it, I knew what it was, but it was described better in the book than it was in the movie, because I don't think you could actually filmatize it that well because of what it is explained to be. So yeah, but I'm really happy that I finished it, and I do think this is a really strong book, and I understand why so many people has it as one of their favorite Stephen King's. If it wasn't for the ending, and if it wasn't because there were parts of the last bit where they were adults that wasn't as scary, there were a couple of things just when he came back that really got me on edge, because they couldn't remember anything from what happened when they were kids. They just knew that something happened in Derry that wasn't great, and but they couldn't explain why. And the minute they came there, they had this uneasy feeling, and every time something happened, they knew that there was something bad about to happen, but they didn't know why they knew that. And all of that was really interesting and very well described. So yeah, I don't know exactly what the rating will be. It's between a 4 and a 5, probably more closer to a 4 stars. Because I do think he could have edited a little bit out of it and not made it as long as it is. But I'm super happy I read it, and I definitely recommend it. But it does take some time, and I was really happy with the audio narrator. The narrator of the audio was really good, and he made it a really atmospheric experience. So yeah, overall pretty mediocre books, but I'm happy I read Stephen King's It. It was definitely worth the read, and yeah, so ending up on a good note, and look forward to moving on with Stephen King's books in the future. So yeah, this was all I had for you this time around. Let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of the books, what you thought of them, if you thought this idea was fun. Would you ever do something similar? That would be fun to know as well. Yeah, if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video very soon. Goodbye!